Hi everyone. So I wanted to take a moment to sort of give some context to some of the posts that I've been sharing and quite frankly the rants that I've been on about sort of my experience in Mombasa. I needed a couple days because I've been so incredibly furious with this that I didn't want to speak without being clear on the facts and also figure out what I was going to do sort of moving forward. So I want to thank, first of all my friends, fellow artists or whatnot who messaged me, who inboxed me, who shared their stories, who gave me support. I really appreciate it. I also just want to clarify that a lot of people are talking about NDAs and contracts and all this stuff. And to clarify, like, I work in such a special niche. Like, I work with UN officials, I work with government officials, and me asking them to sign legal documents is not as easy or forthcoming as it might be with other industries. So this is basically what happened. I think most of you who follow me know that I've been in Mombasa since the pandemic started. And I was actually really happy to be in Mombasa. I started to really get to know the county. I met some incredible artists. I did some workshops. I invited a friend to come live in Mombasa. I've invited people to come visit me. So I was very much Team Mombasa. I think a lot of you also know I've been involved in this creative economy movement basically since November 2018 when I spoke at this world conference. And I've also been involved in a lot of like behind the scenes stuff. Like I was at an UNCTAD meeting in Geneva. I escorted the government officials from Indonesia, the delegation, to a meeting with some UN folks that I introduced them to into UNCTAD. So I knew what was in the pipeline before it actually was made public. And I knew that I really wanted to maximize and take advantage of this UN International Year of Creative Economy for Sustainable Development because it is truly historic. Like for us artists, for us creative folks or whatever, for the UN to finally recognize, put resources toward, speak out about the impact of arts on global health and development, it's huge, it's huge. So I have, for a very long time, been strategizing about what I'm going to do during this historic year, and also knowing that my plans were going to get changed because, you know, the timing of the pandemic. So when I had the opportunity to work with some graffiti artists on an IFC World Bank group in Mombasa, they were awesome, and I got a chance to get an introduction to the county, meet some people there, and so I just felt like it was a good match. There was a lot of excitement around the arts. There was, you know, Mombasa County was already supporting the graffiti artists. The governor's very supportive of artists, so I felt that my skill set, which was to not parachute into Mombasa or Kenya. I don't speak Swahili, I'm not Kenyan. To kind of take over the whatever in Mombasa, that's not my strength. But what I was going to be able to do is take what Mombasa was doing and help elevate both the artists and the policymakers to sort of an international level to have conversations about what's going on in Mombasa. And I was super excited to do it. And I even went so far as to say, let's create a documentary to showcase a best case scenario of what happens when artists and policymakers come together to do something for the creative economy around sustainability. So that's that. When I had my first meeting with the county, I was planning to pitch the whole international year, some ideas I had or whatnot, but I was asked if this guy named Steve Kamani from I forget the name of his business, like Defend or Dream Africa, something, DAS, what he calls it. But I didn't know who he was, and he sat at the meeting, and I noticed pretty quickly that as I'm talking, as I'm pitching to people who don't really use the term creative economy, to this guy who knows nothing about creative economy or the international year, he's writing in his notebook, taking notes, and interjecting his quick ideas of some things that he thought he wanted to do, but then would say things that I'm like, you don't really know how to work with artists if you're saying things like, yeah, we can give them exposure, because anybody knows that's a no-no if you're talking to engaging artists in any sort of advocacy or promotional stuff or whatever. And so I was skeptical about this guy from the beginning. I was like, you're trying to hijack my meeting. Like, why? If you want to do your business with this light show at Fort Jesus or whatever, that's you. But I'm talking about my plans of what we could do for this international year. So anyway, the county decides that we're going to work together because I'm not registered in Kenya, and of course I don't want to do anything that's going to jeopardize my residency there. But what I'm realizing as I'm talking to this guy is, first of all, he doesn't live in Mombasa, so he doesn't know, in my opinion, a lot of sort of what's going on the ground. He flies in, he flies out, he flies in, he flies out. Secondly, he brings on board a woman he worked with in Nairobi, who I felt also didn't really know the scene in Mombasa. So me being excited to really build this, I'm suggesting all these things that we can do to launch the international year, which the governor was going to kind of hit a gavel on New Year's Eve and announce that we're launching this international year. And the idea was that the three of us were going to work together to produce content, and if the pandemic wasn't too bad, do live events, all leading up to the international year kickoff. So it was super great. Exciting. But what started to happen is I started to realize, as I'm sharing my ideas for the string artists, for Space 65, for the filmmakers or whatever, is that I'm feeding all of the ideas. And not only that, but this guy Steve doesn't even have like on-camera releases for the artist. And I'm thinking, this is weird. And then, it took him forever to get us contracts. And then when I looked at the contracts, I was like, these aren't professional contracts. So he's like, well, just adapt them, just da-da-da-da-da. And then he would disappear for a couple days at a time. And I was just starting to just get funny feelings. And so, he would disappear, and then we'd be like, oh, so, we needed this information. Oh, sorry, I was on a shoot, da-da-da-da-da. He also wanted to split the production fee 3 ways. And I'm starting to think, well, me and this woman are doing most of the work. Like, what is he actually doing to earn his 1/3 of the thing when he's asking us to do the contracts, us to do this, contribute decks? And I started to feel like I have in other scenarios where men take women's ideas, in this case, possibly even my creative work, creating a deck, package it, and then pitch it to somebody else or present it as if it's his ideas and his work. And that's exactly what happened. What I found out is when the county decided to postpone the New Year's Eve celebration, and I was never told sort of what was going to happen, I had just come back from bringing hip-hop artists from Mombasa to Nairobi for this Uncut Hip-Hop Award program, shooting a short film, had all this stuff ready to go. I was going to come back, interview the governor. I'm on my roll for producing these 4 films, and again, would have loved to do the street art stuff because they're people that I primarily worked with, but I'm like, let me take charge of the things that I can make happen very quickly because we have basically no time to produce all this stuff. I come back, they postponed everything, and then I find out that this guy Steve has in my opinion, took my idea for the creative year, the international year, ran to Safaricom, pitched a 2-part 1-hour series about the creative industries in Kenya and Safaricom's support of them over the last 20 years. And I'm thinking, okay, you took from my meeting, took a lot of my ideas and went to Safaricom, who I was planning to approach anyway for support. You're not available to us because you're busy producing these 2 1-hour shows. In my opinion, or my question is, are you stacking contracts and getting paid for all this stuff, all this work that's based and rooted in the information that I shared with you and the plans and the vision and the ideas that I had? So I start getting like, I don't want to work with this guy. I don't want to give him my film, my rough cut, because my feeling was he's going to take it and put it into something else that he's working on. I had my own vision for what to do with these short films, to bring them into the international space, to get them into film festivals, to really promote Mombasa hip hop. And I just got like really bad vibes from this guy. So I've written to the county and I said I would like to have a meeting. I want to discuss this. Oh, I didn't hear anything back. I write again. Can we have another meeting? They still don't get back to me. So finally I start sharing my concerns. Then there was, oh, well, let's meet when you get back from Mombasa. So then I write back again. I was like, I actually feel like you guys are starting to announce stuff, so can we have a call before then? Nothing. So then I start seeing some of my ideas executed, like my idea for an Instagram account called Mombasa Creative Economy that would showcase the artists in Mombasa and share their events, share opportunities or whatnot. This guy, Steve, has launched this page. I'm looking at the video that they did of the string artist that I suggested, and I'm thinking, okay, they're missing the mark with this too. Not only that, but this like logo that they're doing for Recreate Mombasa, the fonts are like if you are a graphic designer, you might look at this and be like, this was done by I don't know. The fonts are kitty fonts. The logo looks like a combination of the UNCTAD logo combined with, like somebody mentioned, like Google Chrome. You're launching the creative economy movement in Mombasa in a way that's not aligned with sort of the international year. And so so then I thought, okay, well, I have the receipts for all this because even though I didn't contribute to the deck, I wrote out all my ideas on Word documents, and I'm going to share them to create a historical accurate narrative of the things that I presented, because initially I was proposing to be a strategic policy advisor to help guide the county into creating this international year in a way that would resonate with sort of the larger conversation about creative economy and sustainable development, which I can tell they're still off the mark, but whatever. And secondly, I saw an interview that was done, I'm assuming for the Safaricom video, of the governor, which I was supposed to conduct because I know how to, interview people. I'm a filmmaker, and I also know the international year and the creative economy conversation, so I can help the governor articulate his interview sound bites in a way that would be supportive and reflective of sort of this bigger conversation. But instead, he comes out talking about Alicia Keys and something else, and I was just like, who is doing this? So I've personally lost respect for this guy, Steve. One, for stealing my ideas. He reminds me of many men that I've been in rooms with where they will take the hard work of women and present it as their own, and that's exactly how I feel about it. Secondly, I'm watching what's coming out, and I don't know. I'm critical, and I just think they're missing an opportunity. So I'm going to end by saying a couple of things. I'm going to speak directly to the Mombasa artist. This guy doesn't live in Mombasa. He doesn't know the scene in Mombasa. When he gets paid, he doesn't, he's not living in Mombasa. He's not taking that money and reinvesting it in the local economy. You have a right to ask for whoever is leading this creative economy movement to represent appropriately the creative economy in Mombasa. I'm not sure why we have to keep bringing Nairobi professionals to Mombasa. The talent is there, the expertise is there, the insight is there. There are several artists that I could recommend who would be exceptional in the position to help guide the county on this creative economy. Secondly, I now am being told that this guy, I'm assuming, or the client, is asking artists who I suggested to be featured in this video that's coming out to not follow me or to not support sort of the stuff that I'm doing around Mombasa creative economy, which I'm basically just taking back. I'm not stealing anything. I'm not being, whatever. I'm just doing what I suggested and I presented. So I'm taking it back. And so to ask an artist to not follow somebody who's going to give opportunities or resources or insight, that means you are not really supporting the creative economy. I'm sorry. Like, if you're going to stand up on stage and be like, we support the creatives, and then one, you completely disrespect the creative that brought you the whole international year concept in the first place, and then secondly, to act like a dictator and tell artists not to follow certain people or get information, that's ridiculous. Third, I'm doing what I need to do to take back sort of my work. It's unfortunate. All I asked for was a conversation. And I'll even put it out there now. There's one woman in particular, if she's watching this, she and I thought were friends. We've had several dinners together. She came to Nairobi. This guy Steve didn't even show up to the Nairobi event. We were in Nairobi. There's a lot we can still do together, but you have to hear me out about my concerns. And if you don't, that's fine, but I'm going to continue doing the things that I sat at the table and inspired you to start thinking about. Third, I will say I'm not giving up on Mombasa artists. I will continue to do workshops, I will continue to invest, and I will continue to find ways to elevate the creative community in Mombasa to the international platform. I have started my own Instagram page. I have started the database or the artist roster list that I want to create, so that when opportunities for paid work come out, I can give them. Do not box yourself into only working with one entity. It's very challenging for artists right now, especially during this pandemic. I would challenge even the county or this guy Steve, whoever told this artist not to follow me, that is very selfish, and that's not allowing creatives to flourish in the way that they need to do. And four, I'm speaking out because I'm tired of seeing this happen, not just to me, but to other people. If you claim that you support artists, if you are the UN, the private sector, the governments or whatever, and you're stealing ideas, which is how I make money. So yeah, I'm mad and I'm speaking out because it's not just that, oh, you took my idea, blah, blah, blah. You're threatening my livelihood. I make money and I make my living off of my ideas and executing my ideas. So you sitting there and spending hours with me, having me write proposals, taking my ideas and executing them without involving me, you are affecting my livelihood, and I take that very seriously. So I will end again by saying this is, I'm speaking out to Mombasa creatives primarily, but I want to work with you. I want to change the narrative and the systems of how these institutions work with artists. I promote intellectual property rights, I promote getting paid, and I believe that we can collectively do a lot together. So when I get back to Mombasa, let's do some workshops, let's do some events, let's just maximize this year, and take advantage of all that has to offer. So happy to answer any questions. I'll also just end by saying, I have no doubt that something's going to come back to me where I'm going to get threatened about slander or libel, but all of the things that I've mentioned in this video are factual. I have receipts to prove it. In fact, I'm going to share my proposals for both the film production and my proposal for the strategic policy advisory position, where I shared sort of the big picture ideas and or my opinions. So happy to answer any questions, happy to still talk to the county if they're willing to talk to me, but I'm speaking out about this because this isn't right, and I'm not going to sit and let somebody else benefit from my incredibly hard work and commitment to what I do for years and years and years, to have somebody take it, run with it, and then also not even have the courtesy to have somebody give me a phone call, which is all I asked for. I'm being labeled as somebody who became non-communicative, which is not true. I told the guy, Steve, I'm not speaking to you. I reached out to the county multiple times. They're also trying to say that, I didn't deliver my deliverables with the Uncut Hip Hop Award. I got paid for it and this, that. I have all the receipts for all the money. I paid all the artists already. I have documentation. I have everything that I need to present, but I'm not giving it to this guy, Steve. I'm not giving the rough cut to this guy, Steve, until I talk to the county. So that's sort of where I stand, and I just wanted to clarify. Thank you again for those who reached out to me. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks.